Germany, a nation with a complex and often troubled history, finds itself once again grappling with the rise of far-right politics. Once relegated to the fringes, the far right is now an undeniable force in the German political landscape. But how did we get here? To understand the present, we must delve into the past and examine the factors that have fueled this surge. In the aftermath of World War II, Germany was a nation in ruins physically, economically, and morally. The horrors of the Nazi regime left an indelible mark on the country's consciousness. The Allies, determined to prevent the resurgence of fascism, oversaw the establishment of a democratic government with strict laws aimed at curbing any future rise of extremist ideologies. For decades, this approach appeared to work. The far right remained on the fringes, with only a handful of minor parties attempting and failing to gain a foothold in the political arena. The majority of Germans, haunted by the past, rejected radicalism in favor of stability and democracy. But the landscape began to shift in the early 2010s. The European debt crisis, followed by the refugee crisis of 2015, created a perfect storm of economic anxiety, cultural tension, and political disillusionment. It was in this environment that the alternative for Germany, commonly known as the AFD, was born. Originally founded in 2013 as a Eurosceptic party, the AFD capitalized on growing dissatisfaction with the European Union, particularly Germany's role in the financial bailout of southern European countries. But it was the refugee crisis that truly transformed the AFD from a single-issue party into a broader far-right movement. In 2015, Germany opened its doors to over 1 million refugees, primarily from war-torn countries like Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Chancellor Angela Merkel's decision was hailed by many as a humanitarian act, but it also sparked a fierce backlash. The AFD's strategy paid off. In the 2017 federal elections, they shocked the nation by winning 12.6% of the vote, making them the third largest party in the Bundestag. This was the first time since the 1950s that a far-right party had secured seats in the federal parliament. The AFD had become a political force to be reckoned with. However, this success came at a cost. The party's rapid rise fueled internal divisions between moderate conservatives and more extreme nationalists. Over time, the radical wing, led by figures like Bjorn Höcke, gained the upper hand, pushing the AFD further to the right. The rise of the FDD cannot be understood without considering the role of social media. Platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube became powerful tools for the party to bypass traditional media and speak directly to their supporters. Through targeted ads, viral posts, and online communities, the AFD was able to amplify its message, often using fear and misinformation to stoke anger and resentment. This populist approach, pitting the people against the elites, resonated with those who felt left behind by globalization and disillusioned with the mainstream parties. The AFD positioned itself as the voice of the forgotten. Germans, promising to take back control from Brussels, Berlin, and the so-called liberal establishment. The AFD's most significant victory came in 2023, when they won the state election in Thuringia, becoming the first far-right party in post-war Germany to do so. This was a personal triumph for Bjorn Höcke, who had long been the face of the party's radical wing. But with this victory came a critical dilemma: would the AFD moderate its stance to become a viable governing party, or would it continue to embrace its radical roots, risking political isolation? The question of power versus radicalism has split the party, with some members eager to enter government and others determined to remain outsiders, railing against the system. Germany's far-right surge is not an isolated phenomenon. Across Europe, far-right parties have gained ground by tapping into similar fears and frustrations. Leaders like Marine Le Pen in France and Giorgia Meloni in Italy have managed to mainstream their movements, softening their rhetoric to appeal to a broader electorate. Yet, while some European far-right parties have moved towards moderation, the AFD has, in many ways, chosen the opposite path, embracing its most extreme elements. This divergence raises important questions about the future of far-right politics in Germany and Europe as a whole. Can a party like the AFD ever fully integrate into the political mainstream without losing its core identity? And what impact will this have on Germany's role in Europe and the world? Today, the AFD stands at a crossroads. With growing electoral success comes the temptation and pressure to govern. But the path to power is fraught with challenges. No other party is willing to form a coalition with the AFD, and its internal divisions threaten to tear it apart. Meanwhile, the party's rise has sparked a fierce backlash from civil society, with many Germans deeply concerned about the implications of a far-right party gaining power in a country still haunted by its past. The future of the AFD and of Germany remains uncertain. Will the party continue to grow in strength, pushing Germany further to the right, or will it implode under the weight of its own contradictions? Only time will tell. Germany is at a pivotal moment. The rise of the far right is a reminder that democracy is never guaranteed, it must be continually defended and renewed. As the nation grapples with these challenges, the choices made today will shape the Germany of tomorrow. The story of Germany's far right is far from over. As we look to the future, we must remember the lessons of history and the importance of vigilance in safeguarding democracy.